Red Tango 2. Passenger number 3, cleared off.
Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of our bike setup videos. I've got an assistant with me today. His name's Hollis. You've probably heard of him. He's the current Australian off-road champion and he's going to show us how to set up the front end of a bike.
Thanks mate. In part 1 Adam showed you how to change a front tyre and fit the wheel to the bike. From there on we're going to talk about the importance of fork height and how much the fork height can change the way your whole bike handles. Changing the fork height for certain tracks can make a really big difference to how your bike will handle in certain conditions. Every rider's different. People run different fork heights to suit their riding styles and it makes a big difference. Some guys will run them really long, some guys will run them really short. Depending on what kind of terrain you're riding on, say tight single bush track for instance, a lot of guys will run the fork up a little bit higher, which will change the trail of the bike, making it shorter, which will make the bike turn more. And for instance, a long grass track where high speed's involved, you run the fork back out, making the bike longer, changing the trail, making the bike more stable, but not turn as fast as it would in the bush. You know, it's a 2-minute job to adjust the fork height, and I'll just give you a demonstration of you know, how it's done and how you should do it properly. So, you know, to start off with, we just back these 10 mils off. And that's going to allow the fork to move up and down in the triple clamp. Say for example we're going to go do a real fast race with a lot of straight paddocks or desert or sand even. We want the stability back in the bike. You just find a nice place on the side of the fork, in between the bar, somewhere where you're not going to do too much damage. Some guys like to run them all the way down. You know, you just push it right down like that, and that's a good 4 mil there. That's making the bike longer and it's going to handle a lot better in the real fast open desert kind of style races. Some guys just racing like to have their bike really long in the front. They get all their weight over the front. I like to have mine back up, my fork back up higher. I like the bike to be sitting down in the front, so I feel like I'm over the top of the bike and in control. But every rider's different. It's something you should just muck around with one day when you're at a nice track that you're comfortable with, and get to learn your bike and learn how much difference it makes. Every bike is different. It's something you need to fiddle with a little bit and just get to know your bike pretty much with the fork height, and find a comfortable base setting that you like running every day when you're riding. When you're doing these bolts back up, it's ideal to have a torque wrench and check your manufacturer manual for torque settings, because every bike is different. I can't stress enough about the importance of having the right tension on these bolts. If you over tighten them, which most people do, you can cause a crimping sensation, which will give you the similar effect as what Adam explained in the part 1 of not having your fork leg at the right position. The triple clamp is designed to hold these forks in really tight, so the bolts don't need that much tension. If I was going to over tighten these, like I just did, and to get back on my bike and head out there, the front end would feel completely different. It wouldn't feel plush. You'd have a really harsh, when the inner fork tube went up, you'd have a really harsh feel, and the bike would feel really rigid and like it was hitting a hard spot in the fork leg. In doing that, you've just given the bike a problem that you've done yourself, and it's not the bike's fault. So it's really important to check these and have them at the right tension, because you want that fork, the fork leg to be straight and that fork to be working perfect. So there you go guys. Next time you're out riding on your favourite track, a track that you know well, take a 10 or a 12 mil T-bar and have a muck around with your fork heights. At the end of the day, you're most likely going to find out that you could have been riding a piece of junk, or your bike's going to be transformed into something that you really love and enjoy riding, which is, at the end of the day, is what it comes down to.